All right. But we have the afternoon now, so we'll do another water session. And we'll start with a relaxation exercise again, just to calm down, get ready, become fluid. And then we'll go a little bit deeper into the breathing and the preparation for the breath holding. And then we'll do some mind work as well. And I think the evening is gonna come then, and we can end in the spa or something, just sit and chit chat and wrap up the day before we go for the dinner.
Yeah!
Yeah, so that's a basic simple plan. But for the relaxation exercise, I want to do something similar that we did in the traveling back in time. And it's very important how now we have wetsuits on, some of us, so it's a different buoyancy. But it's very important where you put your hands. Is it under the lower back? Is it under the shoulder blade? You really want to balance people so they feel comfortable, so you don't have to lift them. And then just let the water work. So just let the buoyancy of the water carry the people. And also don't walk around like this. Just sit down yourself so you are also relaxed, so you're not tense. So when you're also relaxed, the person will feel more relaxed. You're not like this. But just sit down and just let the water carry the person's weight. So the exercise we're going to do now is going to be similar in the sense that one person is going to relax and just float, and the other one is going to be the one carrying and like massaging, swimming around. But this time we're going to do it like we're light as a feather. It's also an imagery exercise. So we're just going to imagine that we're weightless, like a feather, just floating in space. So before we were traveling in time, but now we try to change a little bit the way the mind is working. So we try to disintegrate the body, or the cells just become like light. Very light, but also like light. Just white or yellow light. So just have this feeling of the body becoming extremely like volatile and just melting into the water. So it's also like a mind exercise, while it also gives you a deep state of relaxation in the muscular tone. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. So let's just go in groups. I can try again with Boris, and then we just... Now it's a little bit different now with the buoyancy, and again, always make sure that you check the respiratory organs. So the nose and the mouth should never go under, because that would, start a little stress response. The eyes is fine. See, even if I do like this, the eyes will go under, but it's, it's not a problem. Just as long as the nose and mouth is above. And you see now, because he's floating more than this morning, I just need to put 2 or 3 fingers under his lower back here. And then I kind of find the balance point. If I take him here, he'll sink down like that. That's not comfortable. And if I grab him here and get ready to get your nose underwater, but if I grab him here, no, he's pretty good now because he has the suit on, right? So it doesn't take much. And he can even relax more. He'll float down, so relax your neck. Yeah, that's good. So now, since he has the suit on, I can actually just, with one finger, there he goes down, see? No, so it's good. And he's ready.
This is waterboarding 101.
The little guinea pig here, yeah. But try again. It also depends on how much people float and how they breathe. But try to go back again. I'll just see if I can hold you on your knees. But you don't pay attention 1 second and he goes under. So just keep a hand under the lower back like this, a few fingers, and then just walk around like this. And you can also move like this. So it's like the water caressing your skin and just gently massaging. And then he just feels like he has to imagine that he becomes light, just flies with a weightless body. So the whole idea is that the muscles and everything let go. All the tension that you would have from the mind to your muscles and through your nervous system will just open up. So relaxation exercises are really underrated. People think, oh yeah, I can relax, but it's a training thing, people can be stressed in different levels, right? We can all be stressed. We can be a little bit stressed, moderately stressed, highly stressed, freaking out, panicking. There are many levels, but the same in relaxation. But people never pay much attention to that. I always teach people about the depth of going into the different states of relaxation, and it takes time to enter those deeper states. But like some of the yoga we did today, some of the training, the relaxation, once you do it more, it becomes a conditioned response. And especially with PTSD and stressful events in your life and trauma, you have to work a lot so you can go past those stressful signals in your body and your muscles. So if you want to go through that and open all that up and make it soft and make it disappear, like evaporate, you have to do a lot of training and relaxation. And it's very easy, but it just takes time. And you have to do different exercises, but relaxation is much underrated. That's my impression when I like exhalation and actually focusing on the exhale and the breath holding, the pause. It's also not so well used or exploited. So that's why I do this stuff in breathology, where we try to look at the full range of the breathing process. The 360 degree, like the helicopter view, okay? You breathe in, you hold your breath, you breathe out, then you hold your breath. So it's a full process. You understand everything more at a full range when you understand how it actually works when you also hold your breath. And yeah, that's my philosophy. It's like you can't have day without night, you can't have sun without the moon, so it's always the contrast. And the breath holding is so interesting. But try to do this, just grab a partner and just try to put your energy and compassion into the person as well, so you're really taking care of that person, making sure the nose and the mouth is not going underwater. And then that person has time to just see if the body can feel light. And it'll take some minutes to go deeper and deeper, and then after a few more minutes, it's like, wow, and then they might even fall asleep. So we'll just do that, and we don't need to talk so much, but you just feel the energy from your partner. So watch the energy, and if the fingers are relaxing more and the legs are relaxing more. Where am I?
He was in Denmark.
Yeah, like what happened? See, now it's nice. This energy and thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And now it's getting dark and the clouds are rolling in, the mystery, the magic. It's gonna be wonderful to do breath holding now this evening.
Mystery magic theater.
The energy just changes when the afternoon turns into evening, into night. And nobody's here. Everybody has left. So let's move into, how was that? Good for everyone? Yeah? Good. Let's move into a little bit more for breath holding and all the marvelous stuff and the good things it can do for you. And again, never hold your breath alone, because it can feel so nice actually that you can hold your breath so long that you pass out. It's called blackout, or you can have a samba. You can have like shaking. People don't know that. Some people don't know that. It's also called loss of motor control, LMC. Have you heard of that? LMC? Samba. No. It's like you're a Brazilian samba dancer because the oxygen level is too low to maintain normal motor skills. So your nervous system and your muscles are not really working. So we call that a samba. And that's the first step. That's the first sign that something is wrong. And then the next after that, if you push a bit more, is the blackout. And you'll have the white of the eyes rolling out, and people just don't, nothing happens. You can bring them out, and you blow in the face, tap a little bit on the skin, talk with them, get the facial equipment off, and everything's good. People wake up always. But if they're alone in the pool, they don't come back up. So, not to scare people, but I always really talk about the safety. And We should do like 2 or 3 breath holds, because when we do it now, we're not going to make a too long pause in between. Then it builds up also. It's like a climbing up a scale. And when we turn on this diving reflex, when we hold our breath, it gets stronger and stronger. So this means that our heart rate will drop faster and faster. And the circulatory system is going to work in a different way. We will have vasoconstriction. So the blood from the arms and from the legs is going to rush more towards the lungs and the heart and the brain, and stay in that place where it's mostly needed, the oxygen. So we'll try to do, let's say, 3 breath holds, and we're going to increase the time. So whereas earlier today when we did it, it was just about feeling the water and thinking about this childhood memory. Now we're actually going to try some other techniques, but we're trying to hold our breath a little bit longer to actually start to feel that diaphragm moving that we were working with in the yoga session, the breathing session. So when you want to do a breath hold, you of course need to be nice relaxed, like we are now. So that's a good prerequisite, like you lie down for 5-10 minutes, relax. And then the breathing is usually, you should never hyperventilate. That's like an old-fashioned thing, and it just raises your blood pressure, your heart rate goes crazy, your brain is kind of fired up, and you're cheating yourself, because what you do is you blow out excess CO2, and the CO2 is what triggers the urge to breathe. So you don't get the urge to breathe, and then sometimes the oxygen level will drop dramatically below the level of being conscious before the signal comes from the CO2, from the carbon dioxide, this alarm. Ding, 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 I must breathe. So if you have hyperventilated, you highly increase the risk of blackout. Typically it happens also when people swim laps underwater. Usually men, for some reason, they like to swim underwater. Military guys, athletes, everyone, but they like to swim underwater. And when you do that a lot and build up CO2 and get tired and maybe get a little bit cold, and then you hyperventilate like crazy to get rid of this CO2, then it's really, really dangerous. You can pass out easily. And the thing about the blackout is that there is no warning. There's no warning signal. People think, oh, just before I'm about to pass out, I'll just come out, or I'll lift my head, or if they're swimming, doing deep diving, I'll just sprint to the surface. That's like the typical thing people say. I'll just swim really quickly. But it's a physical law. You can't beat physics, not even with speed. So in the water, we should always be very soft, very careful how we breathe, and not splash, not jump in the pool, not get the suits off. We should always be respectful and be to ourselves and to people around us, and be very soft. And that's how you should hold your breath also. Be very soft in the water, very soft in your mind, very soft in your diaphragm, very soft in your neck, very soft in your jaw, very soft in your tongue. That's also a very important organ in yoga. We talk a lot about the tongue, where you position the tongue. So relaxing the tongue, which is a muscle that actually connects the brain to the throat and to the neck and to the body, right? That's a really important, a lot of nerve endings, but also a very important muscle, the tongue. So the first stuff we're going to do is we're going to breathe up for about a minute, nothing more than that. Inhale with the nose, and it's good to sit down like we do now, so we're not standing up too much. It's a little bit more difficult to breathe here when we're in the water is pressing, but it's just slightly more difficult, but it's still more relaxing because we're just sitting here. But you'll notice when you look at me how much we float up when the air comes in the lungs. If I'm not swimming, I can take my arms up. So
You're especially gifted in that department.
excuse me?
I said, I think you're especially gifted in that department.
I don't know.
14 liters, right?
14 liters on a good day, yeah. We can go like this. Like this. So I'm not standing on the ground now, that's for sure.
Wow. Hey, he did.
So, somersault. Okay, so we breathe in with the nose, exhale with the mouth, and we make a little bit of resistance. So now we go pro. We go a little bit more into like the advanced breathing and free diving technique. So what happens is when we breathe in with the nose, we oxygenate better because we create nitrogen oxide in the mucous membranes. That's something that 2 scientists were given the Nobel Prize for just 8 years ago for that discovery. They've known it in China and India for thousands of years. That's why they do all the breathing exercises with the nose. But we also get the right temperature of the air when we use the nose. It's a very, very incredible organ in many ways. Also the membranes, the mucous membranes will adjust the humidity. So the air humidity and temperature is just right when it hits the lungs, because our lungs are so delicate, these structures. So if the air is too cold, we kind of cramp up, like if we're running in winter, right? It's like an asthma attack. And if we run and it's too warm, we're almost burning. So when we use the nose, it's like a climate control. And then also with the different particles and stuff that come in, that's going to be sorted out by the nose hairs, and then even the bacteria and viruses. We don't want to go into the lungs, so when we breathe like this, all this goes straight into our lungs. But when we actually use the nose, all is going to be filtered, and the mucous membrane is going to select and catch all those bacteria and virus. Not all of it, obviously, but a lot of it. So there are many reasons why you should breathe with the nose. Also, when we breathe with the nose, the stream of air is much more controlled, the flow. And it's much more connecting with the brain, because we have the turbinates, the little laminar flow. We have some very complex organs inside the nose. The nose is very big. People don't think about it. The outer nose is kind of small depending on the person, but it's not that big. But the inner nose is as big as the mouth. It's huge. If you look at anatomy, there's a big system in here, and that's where the air is getting moisturized, and also the flow is very important. So the speed and the way it flows is very important for how it comes into the lungs. So when we start to breathe with the nose and understand breathing at a deeper level, we also understand how it kind of speaks with the brain, because the brain registers how the air is flowing, how fast. And are we stressed out? Are we breathing like this, or even with the mouth? Or are we relaxed? Then is the air actually coming in the right time? And we have the left and the right side of the brain, so is the air also coming in the right and the left side of the nose? There are many, many fine details that we miss if we don't use the nose. And we usually always have one part of the nose that is dominating. One nostril always dominates. So you can try and test. So this one is much more open for me now. And this one is more blocked. And it shifts every other hour or so, which is kind of interesting. So we have this rhythm, this dynamic in the nose as well. But let's start with the first dive. So we take about a minute to breathe up, and then as a rule of thumb, when we do consecutive diving, we should not make the pause longer than the dive. And we should not make it shorter, right? So let's say we hold our breath for 1 minute. The pause should be 1 minute. Or a little bit longer, but not shorter. We need to recover, but it should not be like 8 or 12 minutes, because then we don't have this effect of building the diving response. We don't reinforce the diving response. It kind of goes away. So when we do, I have a simple rule of thumb, and I train a lot like that. I hold my breath and I make the pause for breathing the same. So I would go to the pool and I would breathe up for 3 minutes. I would hold my breath for 3 minutes. I would breathe up for 4 minutes, hold my breath for 4 minutes. Breathe up for 5 minutes, hold my breath for 5 minutes. Breathe up for 6 minutes, hold my breath for 6 minutes. Breathe up for 7 minutes, hold my breath for 7 minutes. Breathe up for 8 minutes, hold my breath for 8 minutes. So, and there was light. So it's very simple and easy to remember, and as we talked about before, when I do training, breath training, whatever training it is, I do half of the training in the water, half of the training on land. 50-50, so easy to remember, simple. And it's the same with the breath holding. Breathe up the same time as you hold your breath, very simple. And there are many reasons why. I don't need to go into that. But there are many reasons why. If you make the pause too long, you get out of the dive response, this inner dolphin that we have, this reflex. And if you make it too short, obviously the recovery is not enough. There's not enough time to get all the CO2 out and to get enough oxygen back, right? Get your heart rate down and so forth. So let's do 1 minute breathe up, and then we'll do a body check. So I'll be speaking to you when you do the dive, and we'll go through the different parts of the body and I'll talk you through it. Okay? So breathe just for 1 minute. Make a little resistance so you actually increase the oxygen tension slightly in your lungs. Positive airway pressure, like a peep flow. Not too forced, just enough that it's comfortable and that you actually open those alveoli, those little flowers in the lungs, where the oxygen is going into the bloodstream, so they open up. We have many millions of those small flowers. So that's the end station in the lungs, so we want to open and expand those. And we do that by pushing against the resistance. We're pushing the air out so the lung opens a little bit more. Just a little trick, but it works. Ooh, I want to dive now. I'm like all jealous. Why am I not diving? So, okay, I'll start just to show you. Go down 30 seconds. And you'll see that my neck is completely relaxed. My arms fall into the water. And I'll actually also pack a little bit just to see that I float high on the surface. So just what I would normally do would look like this. Then I start yawning soon because that's my, like, when I really relax. Life is good. And I take all the time I want to fill my lungs with the nose.
Wow.
15 minutes later.
Say I'm okay. Just say something. It doesn't have to be like that, but just say something to your partner. And then you have to watch for about 30 seconds because there might be a blackout after 15, 20, 30 seconds. It takes about that time for the blood to circulate. So even though I'm breathing now and I'm talking, and if I had a really long dive, I could pass out now.
Breathe.
Yeah,
breathe.
exactly. And that's what it looks like. And now this guy knows freediving, so he rescued me, you know. So I didn't tell him to do that, but, you know, I kind of figured somebody's probably going to rescue me, you know.
Hopefully.
But that's what it looks like. And it's kind of ugly, kind of nasty, and you have to be fast. And you have to be responsive, like grab. And you have to be gentle, like fast and firm, but gentle. It's okay. Breathe. You're here. It's okay. Like, you have to be commanding, but not like stressing, because they can go into like a mental stress then. So into a shock. So you want to be firm and fast, and then you just talk and breathe and tap a little bit, and people come back. But it looks like that what I did now. I always get told, oh, you're really good at doing that, because I've seen it thousands and thousands of times. I've rescued thousands of people at the World Championship. I've been teaching the safety divers at the World Championship, and I'm really just a safety guy. I'm really big on the safety. So you keep watching your partner, also when you're diving out in the ocean, for at least 30 seconds. Okay? So let's try that. Sorry, I just kind of went in and made a dive, and I made the lung packing and all that stuff, but just to show you. And then when you come out, that's always my advice and what I kind of want to tell my students. That's how they should end a dive. You should always come out with a smile. If you don't come out with a smile, you did something wrong. Because if you come out like some people do, yeah, I can take a mask here. This is the typical way people come out. They're fighting, they're struggling, which is okay, kind of. This is a strange little mess, but then they come out like this. And you see the contractions in the neck and the shoulders, and bubbles start to come because they can't control the air, they can't hold it in, so it looks like this before they black out, but they come out by themselves, okay? Now we're going to a lot of other stuff we didn't discuss, but anyways. They don't know really where they are, they're staring and they're yanking off the mask, and there's nothing gentle or controlled or beautiful or aesthetic or charming or healthy about that. You know, instead you have to come out in control. You're fighting, it's tough, but you come out slowly, and maybe you're even so far away in your mind, you don't really know what you're doing or where you are, but you're in control mentally. You haven't like freaked out, and then you come out slowly and breathe and do some recovery breathing 2 or 3 times. Keep the pressure high. But that was a little extra lesson. I didn't really plan, but that's fine. We gotta have the basics down. So 1 minute breathing, and then you all start together, and I'll start the clock. And it's not about the time, but just so I have a kind of an indication of where you are, and then
Do we only want to do it for a minute,
just a minute, 2
just to
minutes,
get
just a little bit more than a usual dive, because you want to kind of warm up now. We're gonna do 3 dives, so the third one is gonna be a bit longer.
Yeah.
So you want to do like a comfortable dive, and
Yeah, we want to get a sense for triggering that.
yeah,
sort
it can
of-
start slightly, like a little bit in the stomach if you feel okay, and then you maybe wait another 5, 10, 20 seconds, and then you slowly come up, because we're all working with the nervous system here, and again talking about the PTSD and stress and general training, yoga, freediving, breathing. You do not want to stress the nervous system. You want to challenge it. So you don't want to overstress it, let me put it that way. You don't want to shock the system, because then it goes into like defensive mode. Ooh, I don't like that. That's not nice. I don't like holding my breath. That's not good for me. So you need to gently explain your nervous system and your cells that it's okay, there's not so much oxygen. The circulatory system is going to change. The blood is going to, move around in a different way. The heart rate is going to lower. So you're going to feel this slow beating, but maybe also a bit harder. You're going to feel the chest beating, the heart is beating. And also when you fill your lungs and you're in water, you come in much closer contact with your heart, because you hear the throbbing boom, boom, and you feel it much more than you do on land, because you're kind of resting on your heart and you have a lot of air in your lungs. So you feel that pressure of the heartbeat and the muscle working against your chest. So it's a very intimate experience. Many people haven't felt their heart for years. So, yeah, but you want to do like an easy dive, but still not just like 30 seconds, right? That's so. Just what you feel is comfortable, but the point is, it's not about the length. It's not about going long. We'll do that. We'll build it up slowly.
No,
So
I like
now
this
we'll do.
idea of getting a feel for triggering the response.
Yeah, when you feel that, then you go a
Scouting
little bit longer, and then you come out slowly with this smile and just in control. And I'll just talk you through it like a body check. There's so many different ways you can, keep yourself busy underwater. That's basically what you want to do. You want to keep yourself busy with something. Okay, let's take 1 minute. I've started the clock now, so you breathe slowly for 1 minute, and you can do like the 1-2 breathing. Or 1-3 or 1-4, something like that, so you make the exhalation a bit longer. Probably like 1 to 1.5 actually, something like that. 30 seconds left, so it's also about timing the breathing, getting to know how much air do you take, how long time does it take to fill the lungs from the nose. And then you do an exhale in the end. You have 45 seconds past now, so the last 15 seconds you do about 1 or 2 breaths. Do a slow exhale in the end, fill slowly from the nose and just from the bottom of the lungs fill up. We start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds, go. Relax your neck, and we start with the neck. So you go with your mind and you travel to the neck and you just feel that it's relaxed, and then you make a check mark. Yeah. Okay, the neck is checked off. Then you move to the shoulders. You feel your arms are relaxed and heavy in the pool. And once you feel they're relaxed, you make that check mark on your list. Check. Then you move to your elbows, and you feel your elbows are open and relaxed. And you make that check mark. And you move to your fingers, and you feel that all the fingers are relaxing, and you make a check mark. And you move down your back, and you feel your shoulder blades and your lower back are relaxing, and you make that check mark. And you move into your legs and feel the thighs are relaxing, and you make a check mark. You move to your knees. You feel the knees are relaxed, and you make a check mark. And you move to your ankles. And once you have that signal going back to your brain that your ankles are relaxed, you make a check mark. And then I'll just let you float around. It's beautiful to watch you. All the energy is absolutely stunning. And when you feel it's enough, you just slowly stop your dive. You come back, find the bottom of the pool under your feet, and slowly come up. And then of course, I don't know Boris that well, so I'll tap him. That's what you call it, you tap, and then he'll show the finger. Yeah, he's okay, you can keep going. Continue, you can keep going, that's fine, but you always want to communicate. Especially if you don't know each other that well. So communication is either oral or by tapping, by touching. And then put your feet down, yeah, put your feet down under yourself, and then slowly come up. Wonderful, great. Good. Very good work, everyone. Very good. Huh?
That's my mask.
You need a mask for the nose?
Yeah, for my nose.
That's okay.